We will walk through a full data analytic workflow using some of the most in-demand tools: Excel, SQL, and Power BI. We are going to download and install SQL and Power BI, prepare a structured data set in Excel to ensure smooth data handling, import CSV files into SQL and integrate data like a pro, clean and process data in SQL using powerful queries, analyze and generate business insights directly in SQL, set up an automated SQL backup that syncs to Google Drive for free cloud storage, import the clean SQL dataset into Power BI for advanced reporting, build an interactive Power BI dashboard with real-time visual analytics, publish and share the dashboard so anyone with the link can explore the insights. You have just been hired as a data analyst at a multinational retail company. Managers across different regions struggle with inconsistent reporting, making it difficult to track performance and make timely decisions. To solve this, you leverage SQL to automate data processing and generate structured reports. The Director of Operations needs a high-level interactive dashboard to monitor key performance indicators and overall company health at a glance. Since he frequently travels, he requires remote access to real-time reports. To meet this need, you design a powerful Power BI dashboard, intuitive, dynamic, and mobile-friendly. You then publish and share a live link, allowing seamless access from any device. Thanks to your expertise in data analytics, the company is now making data-driven decisions with confidence. This project will showcase your expertise in some of the most essential tools in data analytics while giving you hands-on experience with a real-world scenario, boosting your confidence in the field. This channel is designed for those looking to build strong portfolio projects to stand out in the job market, those who prefer learning data analysis through practical project-based tutorials. If that sounds like you, hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for more valuable content. Feel free to drop your question in the comments. I'll be happy to help. For those who need real ready-made portfolio projects but are unable to complete them through this video, you can reach out to me via email listed in the description. Now let's dive in. Okay, let's download and install SQL and Power BI. So go to your browser, you write download PostgreSQL. So we are going to click on the first link. So since my computer I'm using window, I will go for window. So there is a lot of information, but click on download the installer. Now we have the various versions of Postgre. You are just going to click on the first one, which is going to be the most advanced one. So you click here on Windows 64 if your computer is 64. If it is 32, you click on the 32 ones. So now PostgreSQL is downloading. It is 335 MB, so it might take some time. Just be patient. Of course, depending on the quality of your network. So let's open. Okay, the first thing is to click on next. Here is the installation directory. Just click on next. Don't untick anything, just click on next. Now this is a very important step. Put any password of your choice, but please put something that you will remember. So for the port, leave it like this. You can change, but you will better leave it like this, even the local. So just click on next, next, next. Now it is installing. It might take some time, but once it is done here, you can click on finish. Then click here and select the Postgre that you have downloaded and you click on next. Okay, we can click on yes. So here it is asking us to install other stuff, but if you click on them, it is asking you to select what you want to install, but we don't need installing anything else. So we can close this. So if we go and write pg admin, we are going to get our PostgreSQL in pg admin. Okay, so it might take more time from your end. So you click on the server. Me, I'm having PostgreSQL 16 and 17 because I've installed the 16. I have to uninstall it, but you are just going to see the 17, and when you will try to open, it's going to ask you to input your password. Remember the password that you used when you downloaded uh, PostgreSQL. That is the one you are going to put in there. Okay, now let's move on to Power BI. Go to your browser again, you write Power BI download. So we are going to use the first link as well. You just click on install on window. From an end, it's going to open in both Microsoft Store, as you can see here. For you, it might not open here, but mine it open here in Microsoft Store. You can install here, or you can also install it from the web. For other people, you just open the web. But if you want to open it in Microsoft Store, you can just come and look for Microsoft Store from your computer. It will open this. You go to research and then you type Power BI desktop and then you click on install. So once you have installed, me I will close because I've already installed. You can just come to your computer and write Power BI desktop. Let's open it. From my end, it looks dark because I put Power BI in the dark mode, but yours will be white by default. So here are the previous project I've worked in. So you click here on blank project. Here is our Power BI ready for use. Okay, now let's prepare a structured data set in Excel. So let's open the first Excel file. So you can click inside the table, you press Ctrl A to select everything, you go to insert and then you create a table. So you can click here and you double click anywhere in the column. So it allows you to see each column very well. So at your own pace, go through each column, the contents of each column to understand the data. It is a very important step. So I will just open each column so that you can see the content. So we are having 6 different data sets from 6 different countries, but each tables are having the same number of columns. So we assume that they are all collecting the same data, but of course the content of each column is different. We are not going to save this file as an XLX file. We want it to be CSV. Okay, so let's close this without saving. Let's leave it as a CSV file. So these are the 6 various data sets we are having from the 6 different stores. Now let's import the CSV files into SQL. As you can see, by default, you will see this database, the Postgres database, with its own schema, which is public, with the table inside. But if I check the table, there is no table. We can use this default Postgres database, or we can right click on database, go to database and create our own database. Let's call this database Data Professionals as the name of the channel. This is very important. Leave it as Postgres. It means that you are the owner of this database. Okay, let's save this, and our database has been created. So inside the database, we have the schema, which we can create different schema. Maybe each country needs its own schema. It is possible. But for now, we are just going to use this default schema, which is the public schema. If we check the tables, we don't have any table. So let's just right click, we go to create a table. So what is the name of our table? We are going to start with the Sales Canada table. So let's give it a name, Sales Canada. Now for the rest, you can leave it as Postgres public. Now let's go to columns. Here we have to list our various columns. Now let's open this file again to see. The first thing we want to see is the number of columns. So this one is called, the first column is transaction ID. We are not forced to write it transaction ID. We can give it a different name. But what matters is the number of columns. So I am opening this Word document to list all the columns name. You are not forced to do that from your end, because this file I will put it in the description so that you can use it. So I'm doing this because we are going to import all the 6 different tables, and for that we are going to list all the columns down for each of the columns. And what I want is that each table have the same name, and of course the contents of the column will be different, but I want them to have all the same columns name. So I'm listing all the columns down. So I'm removing the underscore, I'm writing it the way I want. As I said earlier, the way you write does not matter, but it is actually 2 things that really matters, else you will get an error. The first thing is the number of columns. For this data set, it is having 15 columns. So if you forget one column by mistake when you are creating the table and you import the data set into that table, you are going to get an error. So if you get an error, make sure to check that the number of columns you have created is actually the 15 column that contains the dataset, the Excel CSV file. Okay, so the second thing that really matter is the data type. For the data type, for those who are beginner, is actually what is the format of the column. If maybe this column is a payment method and it is a text inside, and you as format, you are going to put maybe number. So what will happen? SQL, will expect number. Meanwhile, when the data set will come, it will be a text. So you might also get an error from that. Okay, so we have all our 15 columns, so now I can just take them, and okay, it's 15. Yes. No, it's 14. It's like we are forgetting one column. Which one it is it? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 15. Yeah, it is 15. So unfortunately, mine is 14. Um, okay. I know from your end it might be easier because this exact Word document, I will leave it in the description so that you can just use it to copy and paste in the various tables creation. Okay. So let's come back to SQL. So we click on the plus button. Okay. So now it asks for the name of the column. So let's copy this first one, transaction ID. We put it there. So for the data type, we are going to, let's look at the value inside. It is made up of numbers, letters, underscores, or so let's call it text. So the data type is going to be a text, right? So look at what I'm going to do. I'm going to click the primary key. I'm going to turn it on. Why am I turning it on? It's going to be like this column should not have duplicate or null values. Why? Because each transaction ID represents an order. So we don't want an entry with no transaction ID. That's why I'm putting it as the primary key. Okay. So let's bring the rest of the columns. The date, we put the date type, the data type as date. The country, we put the data type as text. For the product ID is also text because it is made up of numbers, letters, and slash, I think. Okay. So let's bring the rest of the columns. Please don't find it difficult. If you are new in SQL, it is not difficult, it is just new to you. For instance, the data type, now you are going to just put what I am putting, but you have to understand that why am I putting a text? Because I'm writing like with the alphabet 1, 2, 3, what am I saying? A, B, C, D. That is a text. For the date, of course, it's a date. Now for now the price per unit. The price per unit, I'm going to put data type numeric. What does it mean, numeric? Numeric is like, it is a float for those who use Python. Okay. It is numbers that is going to take, but it's going to allow decimals values. Okay. So you see there's decimal value in our price per unit. That's why I'm going to give as data type numeric, right? Numeric for those who are used to Python is the float. Now for the quantity purchased, since we can't have half purchase, it is only like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we are going to give as data type integer, right? So let's put integer. Integer means what? It is also number, but it does not allow like decimals values. Why? Because the quantity purchased should not allow decimals values. So if in your data set it is having decimal values and then you set it as integer, it's going to remove all the decimals value. So doing this helps in data cleaning. Okay. So for the cost price, since it is having decimals values, we are going to bring it as data type numeric, right? So for the previous forms of versions of Postgre, we used to put uh, things like var chart, v chart, and stuff. But for this version 17, for the data type, it is taking these data types. Okay. Now for the payment method, since it is cash, mobile money, and credit card, it is a text. Okay. I'm very sorry if my English, if I sound like non-native. English is not my first language. French is my first language. That is why I'm having a French YouTube channel as well. For those who also speak French, you can, I think I will put the link of the French channel in the description so that you can also refer to those channels. But English is my second language, of course, after my local language. Okay. So please let's bring all the rest of the columns. For the store location, since it is like the cities, we are going to put it as text. And the last one, the sales representative, do not write it well, it is E. Okay, sorry for the spelling. Okay, for the sales representative, we are going to give it as a text. Okay, now we have listed all the 15 columns. Let's count it. Okay, let's count them. Okay, I think it's up to 15. Okay, so now there are other things we can set up right here like this, but for now let's leave them like the way they are. So the only thing we needed are the columns and the table name. So let's save this. As you can see, we have our first table. When you click on the arrow, you can see the list of the columns, right? So now to open the cells, you can come here, you click on the table, then you click on query tools. Okay, now this is our query history. We can now write our query. So for those who are new, welcome to the select or select from, which is like for Python users, our hello world. Okay, you can also click on that table. It will give you all the table at a glance. Okay, so you see the table, right? So um the public that you see in the table is the schema name. The schema is public, then it is followed with the table's name. So that is the first way to open the various tables. You can click on that tables at the top, or you can write the query yourself. Select all. Star means all, right? All are in terms of columns. You can precise the column that you want to see, but we want to see all the columns. That's why we are saying select all. Now from, we put the table's name, right? So once we are done, we click here to run the query. Okay. So as you can see, we have our table which is not having anything. Let's right click on the table and we click on import and export, right? So yours will be empty. Mine it is having something because I've used it before. So you come here in import, not export, of course. Now you browse to the file that you want. Since we want to create for Canada, let's bring sales Canada first, right? It's going to get the file name, everything. So for the format, make sure it is CSV because our data set is CSV. For the encoding, don't put anything there, right? Now, very important, go to option. This header will be turned off. What does it mean? You see our table is having the header, right? So we have to tick that yes, our table is having a header. Now for the delimiter, our table is delimiter with a comma, right? Because it is a CSV file. If I put my cursor on any file, you can see the detail that it is a Microsoft Excel comma separator. So for the first one is the delimiter is a comma. So we are all set. Okay, now we can click on OK. So you have seen everything has been processed well. So now if I come again on the table, I right click and I refresh. This is very important. You right click and you refresh. Now I can just run the same queries and boom, our tables is having all the values. Or you can come here at all rows and then it will still give you all the tables. Okay, so the tables is having 500 entries or rows. So over here at the top, you can move from one page of one page, yeah, let's call it page or dashboard, to another. So when you write a new query, you want to go to a new dashboard, or you can delete. So now what we going to do? We have our first table. Let's bring our second table. We right click again on table. We go to create. We now bring import, let's close this. We now import the sales China, right? So this is going to be the last data set I'm going to import, else the video is going to be very long. So as you can see, this sales China sales Excel file is having the same number of columns with the Canada and the other ones. So let's call this one sales China. It does not need to have the same name with the CSV file. It is just a name you are giving. Then we go to the column and then we bring all our columns. Since I've already listed them out, uh, let me just copy and paste. For the data type is going to be exactly the same. So for the transaction ID, we want it as a text. We click primary key. For those who are intermediate or advanced in either SQL or whatever tools, they know that what the primary key means. So as I said earlier, it helps SQL to know that every column can have null values, but this one should not have null value, and it's going to be like the column that we are going to reference to. Okay, now as you see close to it, there is not null. If maybe in your case in another project, you should not allow null value in a column. You just tick that not null uh, case. Okay, once again, for the price per unit, it is going to be numeric, which is a B chart for the previous versions of SQL. But for this new version, it is just um, numeric or integer. For integer is the same, right? So I really encourage you guys to use AI when you work, because don't feel shy to use it, because it's there to help us to improve our skills, right? So if for instance you are putting a data type for whatever version of SQL you are using and it is not working, you can just ask any AI that, okay, I'm putting this maybe text to as data type in Postgre, the version of the Postgre 17, and it is giving me an error. Excel with maybe if it is ChatGPT or whatever, it will tell you that no, since the version is this, rather use this data type. Okay, so don't feel shy to use AI when you work as data professionals. So as I said earlier, so I'm going to, this is the last table I am bringing in front of the camera. Okay, I don't want the video to be too long, so I'm importing two different tables for you to see well how it works. So for the rest is going to be exactly the same. Okay, So now let's count the number of columns. 15. Okay, I think it is 15. Everything is set. So the most important are general and columns. For the rest, you can leave it the way they are. So let's save that, and then let's refresh. We don't even need to refresh, it's already there. We have the sales China with its columns. We have the list of all the columns. It is fine. So if I click on, I select the table, I click on all rows, it's going to open the table. As you can see, this is our table, but it is empty. So let's right click on the table, we go to import the file. So let's delete the first one. So we select again the file, which is this sales China. Okay, it is there. So as I said, it should be CSV here, and in option the header should be turned on and the delimiter should be a comma, and then you click on OK. Everything will be fine if you do like that. So now we can click here and refresh like this. So if we open it again like this here, now you can see that the sales China is having its own data. I hope you have seen the whole process, because I'm now going to move directly into the next step. Okay, just import the rest of the 4 data sets on your own. Okay, so I've just imported the last table, which is the sales US, successfully. So we have all the 6 tables in our SQL. Okay, everything looks good, right? So I can click on query 2, right? I'm going to write a query. This query, I want to create a table. Instead of going the same way I have done as if I was going to import the file, I'm going to write a query that will create the table. So I write create table. So as you can see, the purple color or the violet color is the color that shows that this term you are using is understood by SQL. Okay, so create table, I bring our table is going to be in the public schema, then you put the name of the table in quotes. I put and then put as means what is going to have inside. It should have select all from public.sales Canada. What does it mean? It means that I want SQL to create the sales data table. As means, what do I put inside? You should put everything that is inside the sales Canada table. Now I use union all. Union all says that add inside, don't delete the previous one, keep the previous one, which is everything in the sales Canada. You just include, you just add now everything that is in the sales China table. I do it the same again and again to have all the 6 table listed to form the sales data. So the idea is to have one single table that contains all the information in the rest of the table. Okay. So once again, if it is new for you, it is not difficult, it is just new. So just keep practicing, you will see how those things will become like not easy, but something more simple, right? So now everything is set. So I don't go to create, this one creates already, the query creates and it includes everything from the rest of the table. Now I'm going to run, I execute the script. You see it is written query returned successfully, right? So in 85 means the number of second or millisecond it took, right? Now I just need to refresh, and then I have my sales data inside. Everything is ready. Okay, I think we are good to go. If we check the country column, we can see that it contains the various countries' name. Same for the store location. We can see how the names of the different stores varies. So we are good to go to move to the data cleaning part of our project. So let's start with the data cleaning and processing. Sorry. Let's open a new query. So the first thing to do, we want to check the null value. Null means empty. So what do? We write our select all. All means all the columns from, then we put the table name, which in this case is public dot sales data. Why public? Because public is the name of our schema, and then the name of the data set. As you can see, no matter how we structure the query, it is still going to run. Excel just understand select from where. No matter in what order, no, the order matters, of course, but no matter whether it is one line or two. So to make it look appealing, let's make it look like in different line for each question. So now I put the where condition. Where means this is a condition. It should select everything where the transaction ID is null. Okay, so I I can change transaction ID by date. It is still going to show me if that column is containing nulls. Okay, the semicolon I'm putting at the end is just to tell SQL that this is the end of our query. So we put the semicolon, right? So instead of checking each column distinct, we are going to use the or function. Okay, so I just put where country is null, or price per unit is null, or quantity purchase is null. Don't focus on the fact that I line them like this. You can just put it in one straight line, it will still run. Okay, so it's just to make it look appealing. So I'm going to select only the critical columns that in my opinion they should not contain null values. Okay, so I will list them down. Discount apply, which is critical in my opinion. Okay, I can just run. Now it is giving me two entries with null values, right? You can click here like this to select that value, that entry. Let me check. You can see this entry, the quantity purchased is null, and for this second entry, the price per unit is null, which are two columns that we don't want them to have null value, right? So let's click on query. So we are now going to write a new query. The query is going to update those entries who are having blanks to now put the value. So I'm putting the update, and then I put the table, which is public sales data. Of course, public is the name of the schema, and then you put the name of the table. So now we are going to set, let's assume, maybe let's start with maybe the null in the quantity purchased. So let's assume you have called in that country. They said, okay, maybe it is 3. The quantity was 3. Sorry, we made a mistake while filling the form. We say, okay. So we are going to write a query to update the sales data table, and it should set in the quantity purchase column. What does it going to set? Let's put 3. Okay. Now if we don't put the condition for every entry, is going to put 3, which is something we don't want. So we are going to put where is the condition. Okay, now where, let me copy this transaction ID, because remember each entry has a distinct transaction ID. So I'm going to put a condition which is where the transaction ID is equal to, but because this is not a number, I have to put quotes like this, okay, for SQL to understand. The 3 I do not put because it is a number, it is fine, but this is a text, so we have to put the quote. So and then I put my semicolon and I run. You can see that we see the query returned successfully in 75 milliseconds, right? So now let's move on to the second one. But if I run this code again to check the null, you will see how that entry has gone, right? It is now not showing me that as the output of the entry that are having null, because I've replaced the quantity, the null in the quantity purchased with 3, right? Now let's handle the second empty entries, right? Okay, so we are just basically going to use the same query, update our table sales data to set. Now which column is it setting? It is setting the price per unit. Okay, so now what do I want to put? Let's assume they were not able to give me the price, so I want to put the average of all the data sets. Look at what I put. I open the parenthesis. Okay, I start here. You can start anywhere, but I start here to make it look appealing, right? I start with select average. ABJ is average. That's how it is understood by SQL. Now it's going to average what column? The price per unit. From what table? From the sales table, sales data table. Please, these are not complicated. The more you do, the more you understand. Okay, me too. Some time ago I was also new on those things, and I'm still not like perfect. I'm just learning, and then I use AI to explain when I don't understand anything. But this is simple. I want to replace the null value with the average of the price per unit. Okay, now I put the condition once again. If I don't put the condition, it's going to set that rule for all the entries. And how do we set the condition? With the where the transaction ID is, I put that transaction ID because it is unique per entry, right? So I can now let me check well. So we update the table, we set the column price, which is equal to the average of the values in the price unit. Okay, and where it is not null, this one is also important. We precise that it should not be null, right? If it we put with the null, it's going to give an error. Okay, we are good to go. So now let's check for the duplicate values. So once again, I've gotten this data set from ChatGPT. I asked ChatGPT to give me sales data from various stores in the world, and I have not actually gone through the data like thoroughly on myself. On Yeah. So now I'm just going to check also. So let's check for the duplicate value, right? Because it's also something important. We don't want duplicate value, and then it might like make the whole analysis to be biased, because instead of having this amount, we are going to have more. So the how do we check the duplicate? We write the select, we check the transaction ID. Why the transaction ID? Because it is that column that is having unique values for each entry, which is our primary key, right? Now it's going to count all. So each value, it counts it where from the table. From is like where. Okay, now it's going to group by. Every time you put count, you are forced to put the group by. Okay, um now group by, we put the same column we want to see, okay, which is the transaction ID. Now where it is having count greater than 1, this is quite confusing, but it's not actually. So it is checking in the transaction ID if there's one ID that is coming more than once, okay, and it is showing nothing. So we are good to go, right? Okay, so the next thing we want to do is to actually create calculated columns, okay. So we are going to alter. What does alter mean? You remember for the first one. Now alter means we are going to, it's not like update. Alter is a little bit like update, but it's, yeah, it's some kind of update. But we use alter because we are going to create a new column. Update is when something already exists. So we alter the table and we add a column. What is the name of the column? Is total amount. What is the data type? It is numeric. Why 10? 10 because we want the value not to be more than 10 characters, right? Else the amount will be too much. I'm not sure it can exist. 2 means that we want to have 2 decimals, right? Now, this one alone, we can run it, is going to run well. But I'm going to run 2 queries together. But for the first one, I'm going to put the semicolon to show that that is the end of the first query, okay. Now I write update. Why am I updating? Because it is something that already exists. The first one is alter because it does not exist. This second one is update because it already exists, right? So we are now going to update our new column, right, which is total amount. How do you want to update it? We want the total amount to be the price per unit multiply, which is this star again, multiply by the quantity purchased, okay. Price per unit multiply with the quantity purchased. Now we are going to put minus the discount. Remember that sometimes the company add some discount to some purchase, right? So we remove that discount to the total amount, okay. So now I'm also putting the semicolon to say that this is also the end of this query. So I can run the 2 queries together. I could run one after the other, but I'm doing this to show you that you can run multiple queries together. So now it is giving me an error, okay. Column price per unit multiplied by quantity does not exist. It does not exist because I did not put the code for each table, okay. So the what you should do is that for each column, right, sorry, I said table, you should put it into quote for SQL to understand that it is a column, right. Now it is running well. If I open the sales data and I scroll to the right, I now see the total amount, okay. Now we are going to create a new table, right? To create a new column, sorry, I meant. So to get the new table column, I'm going to use our alter table again. I said it earlier, alter is when you are bringing something that is new to the table, and update is when it already exists and you are just updating what already exists. Now we alter table, we put the name of our table, we add a column. Don't focus on the fact that after add I go to a new line. You can continue write it the way you want, and then it should add the column profit. If I run it, you can see the column profit is there, but it is null. There is no value inside, right? Now I'm going to add a new query. I'm saying that update the table, the sales table. Of course, everything you start with, whether select, whether update, whether alter, you should put the table's name. update this table. Set means what column are you trying to update? We want to update the profit column, right? And then we want the profit table to be equal to, we put the total amount, right, minus, so when the company, to get the total cost, right, we have a column for the cost price, right, and then we have a column for the quantity. To know the real cost, we should just make the cost plus the quantity purchased, right? So total amount equals to minus this. So I'm highlighting this to run. If I don't highlight, it's going to run the first query I did earlier, right? Why? Because, and it will give me an error. It's going to say that the profit table already exists. That's why I highlighted only that query. Now we can move on to the analysis part of our table. The first analysis we want to make is the sales revenue. Okay, so we want to analyze the sales revenue per country, right? So let's select, which is always the first thing for most queries. We select the countries, right? So these are the various countries. So what do we want? Select countries means we only want the column countries, right? Every time you write select, what Excel expect is the columns. So if you put all, it means Excel will give you all. But here we are saying that we want only the column, the country column. What do we want? We want the sum of the total amount, which is going to be another column, right? A sum of the total amount. As means, how do you want it to show in the table? Like the name, we want to call it total revenue. Every time you make it as, that means this is how you want it to be. And then we also want in another column the sum of profit as total profit. Once again, we put each row represents each column, right? So the first line is country. The second line is the sum of total amount. I can leave it like this and it will come just written total amount. But I put as to say that I want it as, you should read it as total amount. Now I'm putting a condition. We want it to be a weekly report. Today is the 25th of February 2025. So let's assume from Monday to Friday. Let's take it from the 10th to the 14th, right? So let's assume just like maybe it is last week report that we want to generate. Now we put the condition where the date between 2025, of course, follow the format. It starts with year, month, and day. So we follow the same thing, right? Where the date between the 2025 February 10th and 2025 February 14th, which represent from Monday to Friday of last week. Let's assume that this is the report we are to generate. Now, what do you want to put? We always add the group by, and then we put the name of the column. Remember for the previous one, every time you write select and you don't put all, you put the name of a column. You should put it as group by. Now we are getting an error. Let's try to see where the error come from, please. Okay, country, we had to put a comma. Okay, when you select, when you call a column, when you after putting the name of the column, you should add a comma. Now this value is different from the one you are having from your end, because here I had not realized that the data generated were just from January to February, right? I've updated it to be from January to December. In your data set, it might look different from this. but the idea is the same. Now we get the country, we get the total revenue, the total profit. Order by, it's when we want to order, right? We want to order it by, we put, now if you don't put anything, it's going to order it as by ascendantly. What do we say in English? But we now, let's move on to the top 5 best selling products, right? This is one of the business questions, or one of the insight that a manager want to see. The top 5 products, right? So now we write our select. We don't want every column to put select all. We only want the product name to be as a column. You can drag this to put it close to one another. Okay, so we want the product column. Remember, after every column you put a comma, else we will get an error. So what else do we want as column? We want the sum of quantity purchased. Okay, so Excel per column is going to give the sum of quantity purchased. As, remember I said, when you put as, it means how do we want the report, the header or the column name to look like. We want it to be as total unit sold. I say sold like in French. Okay, total unit sold. Now what else do we want? Once we have our select, we put our from, as usual, select from. We put the name of the table, from sales data. Now let's put the condition. Where is the condition? Remember that the report wants, this is a weekly report, and we decided that the week will be between the 10th to the 14th of February 2025. Now we are forced to put the group by, because when you select only some columns, you have to group them by that column. I put my semicolon and I can run. You can see now the product and the total unit. But now we want it to add the order by. Order is going to order the thing by, we put the name of the quantity purchased, but we don't put quantity purchased because SQL is already reading it as total unit sold. Now it is ordering. Let's put descending. When you don't precise it, naturally it automatically put it as ascending, but we precise that we want it as descending. So we limit only 10, right? That means don't put everything, just put 5. Now let's add 5, because the question is to get the top 5 product purchased. Now we have pass. Usually the names are very weird. Okay, let's move to the best sales representative. So once again, the name of the values can be different, will be different, because your data has been modified. I've already modified it to include a date between January to December, but here I had not noticed to this point that the data was just from January to February. So we want the sales representative column, and then we put the comma to precise that that is the end of one column. The next column we want is the sum of total amount. And how do we want the sum of total amount to show? We want it to have the name total sales, right? Now from, always after select, it is from public data, sales data, which is our table. Now let's add our condition. You see that the query is almost the same for all the question asked from the managers, right? Now we want the date to be between. So just in case you want the date, sometime an on-demand report can come in, and he say, okay, can you please query the data from this period to date? So instead of between, you just put where date is greater or equal to, you put the value. Of course, you put the date into quotes, right? I put between because I want the data to be between a period. So now when we run our query, everything is fine. Okay, so now let's just order it by total sales. Okay, so when there are different column, you can order by even the sales representative, and then you precise that by alphabetical order or whatever. But we want it to be ordered by the total sales. Let's limit it to only 5, the top 5. I am taking screenshot because I will use the screenshot for my report, right? Okay, which stores locations, okay. So once again, we want to know the store location that brings more money, right? So let's bring the store location as the column. We want it to be the first column, right? We put our comma. Then the second column, we want it to be the sum of total amount. How do we want the total amount to be spelled in the table? We want it to be called total sales. Okay. Now also let's get the sum of the profit. Okay, so this is just to get the store location that perform the best, the best. Okay, so how do we want the sum of profit to read? We want it to read it to show as total profit. So now we are done with our select. Let's move to from the table. As usual, select from. So these queries we are using, you can use it in any SQL uh, database you want, MySQL Server, Microsoft SQL, MySQL, Microsoft SQL Server, or any other. So let's put the condition where the date is between the 10 and the 14th of February 2025. Because we are selecting only the column, we are forced to put that column in the group by. Let's order this by the total sales. Okay, and then we can limit to see only the top 5. I put my semicolon to show that I'm done. So I got an error. Mm, okay, I forgot the comma after total sales, sorry. Okay, now let's get what are the key sales and profit. Okay, this is going to be like a summary of data, as if in Excel we are using the descriptive statistics. Okay, let's select the minimum of total amount. Mean, SQL understand that mean is minimum. Okay, now we want to read that minimum total amount as mean sales values. Okay, value, sorry. Okay, so we just want it to be as one column. Remember that when every time we call select is to put the columns, so we want the minimum of total amount to be one column. In our output, that minimum of total amount should be written as mean sales value. Same for the max total amount. And then we have the average total amount. So AVG, SQL understanding that it is average. Was it J or G? I'm sorry, it's like sometimes G and J and G and J. Okay, for each one we separate with a comma. Remember that when you call the select and you don't say select all, you rather call one particular column or columns you have to separate each one with a comma. Now we want the sum of total amount. So we are going to do this for both the total amount and the profit. Okay, so we have the minimum, the maximum, the average, and the sum of total amount. Let's also get the same thing for the profit. So for the minimum profit, we want it to show as mean profit. Okay, so not to waste time, I will just copy this and paste. For those who are new in SQL or not, or intermediate, so as you can see, SQL means structure query language. So it is a language we are talking with SQL. We are telling him SQL is like, give me your data. It is what we have done. We have imported the 6 datasets, right? Now what do you want? You tell him what you want, okay? So it's simple. You should just speak his own language. For instance, like what we should understand is that it starts with select, where we select our columns, and then from. From means the table. So we select all these columns from this table. Now, where is the condition? Where the date is between the 10th to the 14th, because according to the scenario, we are to generate weekly report, and we assume that the week starts from Monday 10 to Friday 14th. So now we can run our query. We got an error, and every time you get an error, the error pop-up will always tell you, like for instance, the last column you call should never have a comma, right? So this is our result. I can get the screenshot. Okay, it looks good. So you can click here on save, right? If you want to the output to come as an Excel, you just click on save. You give a name you want. By default, it will come as an Excel file, right? So now if I come to download, I can see the Excel file that has been generated from the output of my query, okay? Because sometimes a manager can want the report in a form of Excel. Maybe in Excel is going to use a lot of pivot table, very complicated one, and then it just asks you to do that. Now let's set up the automated SQL backup. How do we set it? So since we don't have money to pay for the backup in a cloud, so we are just going to use a free cloud, which is our Google Drive. So write Google Drive, you come here and you click on download here. You just download the Google Drive for your desktop, right? Here it is written télécharger drive pour ordinateur. It means download the Google Drive for desktop. Okay, so I will cancel the downloading because I've already downloaded. Once you have downloaded, you install, and then it will come here. As you can see, the drive is here. You can click on the setting, you go to preferences. Now you can see my laptop and the Google Drive. So I'm going to my laptop. I've already backed up one folder, the document. Now I'm going to add another folder. So I come here. I've already created a backup folder. Sorry. So I created a backup folder. I select the folder and then I click on it. Here it is asking the document inside, is it only the photo and video? We click on the first one because this one includes everything: photo, video, documents, and stuff. Now you can see if I come here on my background like this, let me just click on save. Once it is saved, it is okay. Now this folder is synced with my Google Drive, right? You remember that once you have a Gmail account, you automatically have a Google Drive. So if I refresh like this, you can now see this tick button, that this tick sign that has come, showing that the backup is now in Google Drive. You can also check it from here, right? So how do I now get the backup from SQL, right? You can get the backup either you can backup the entire database. So you right click, you go to backup, you come here to the folder. Where do you want the backup to be? I put it in the folder that I've synced with Google Drive. So let me put a name. Let's use, like, we don't use with space, we put underscore. And one of the most important is the actual date, so that when you get back to your backup, you know the date of the backup. Now come here, you select backup, not SQL, backup file, and then you click on save. Now, as you can see, everything is the same. The last one, the role name, which is very important. So go to the last, to the bottom, and you click Postgres. What does it mean? It means that you are the owner of the background. Okay. So the other ones are maybe if you want the person just to edit or to whatever. Now inside the backup folder, you can see we have our backup file for the database. Okay. So how can I see that? You can either go, you write Google Drive. Okay. So you look for sign in, like here. You can use this one. You open this, you sign in with your email address, and then you access your Google Drive. Or you can go to your Gmail, you click here, you go to Drive directly. Okay. So I've already opened. This is it. You go to computer. This is your computer. No, I have two computers connected to this drive. So this is the one that is in my computer, this computer. So you can see this one is the backup we just created, right? You can right click on the three dot to download the document or to do whatever, to share with your colleagues or whatever you want. So there is not only the database that you can back up, there is also the schema that you can back up, right? You can also back up a particular table. Let's, for instance, back up this sales data. I right click and go to backup. I select the folder, the file name. Okay. So remember that one important detail is actually the date. So you go to backup, okay, backup file. It is done. Now for the role, I put Postgre, meaning you are the owner of the backup. Okay. Everything was processed successfully. You can see the backup has come. To see that it is still, you just refresh like this, and then you can see that it's now synced. If I go on Google Drive, automatically it is here. So why are we using this backup? In case you lose your computer, you will still retrieve your backup. So instead of importing, you now, yeah, that is it. So now let's move on to the next step. How do we import our data set from SQL to Power BI? Okay, let's open Power BI. We go to blank report. So these are the previous projects I've done, but let's go to blank report. Okay, now this is how it is supposed to be from your side, just that the background won't be dark, it will be white. Okay, so you can see here, you can import any data set from here, or you can go to get data. You see what you want, you can go to more to get more data. Okay, but maybe just open anyone. Let's go to get data from here. So you can see there are different types of data. You can get text, Excel, and everything. But since ours is a database, we click on database. There's SQL Server, MySQL. They are all the databases. But ours is Postgres SQL. Okay. Now for the credential, you can come back to your Postgres. You right click here. You go to properties. You come to connection. Here is your host name, address here, and your username. So for your host name, it will almost always be this. If you have installed the Power BI with its own default, it always come here. The host name is always localhost, and so on and so forth. Now for the database, we have created our own database, which is Data Professionals. what we want to import. Okay, I'm clicking on okay. Yours, mine is coming directly because I've already done this. Yours is going to ask for the password. So you just put the password and you are good to go. You will come to this page. So over here, you can see which table you want to import. So I can just click on load, or I can go to Power Query. For those who are used to Excel, you know this Power Query. It is exactly the way it is in Excel. You can make your editing and stuff, but I don't want, so let's just import it directly. As you can see here, our data has come. Okay, now we are good to go. The data set is in Power BI and it is connected to SQL. So if there's any changes, if there's any change in SQL, the change will reflect automatically here when we click on refresh. Here we have the phone. You can view it by the phone, by the computer. You can refresh here and here. So mine here is because I put the drop down, I click on the drop down arrow. That's why it is not showing those header well as yours. So here you can see your data, you can see the module exactly like in Excel because they are all Microsoft tools. So okay, maybe yours, the top will be like more, you'll be able to see everything, but me, I've clicked on the arrow to put it down. Now for the dark mode, you can go to file, you go to options. Okay, here you go to report setting, personalization. You can see here if yours in light mode and you want it in dark mode, you can put or whatever. Okay, so now let's build our interactive Power BI dashboard. So let's right click on the database and we create a measure. What is a measure? It's a measure is just uh like when you go to pivot, measures are created automatically, but here we have to manually create them. The first measure is going to be the total sale. The total sale is just the sum of the total amount, right? Since we have opened the parentheses, we close. So we have created our first measure, right? So it has come. We right click again on the database, we create a new measure. This one is going to be the total profit. The total profit is nothing but the sum of, when you just click on sum, the tables will come. You just select sum of profit. Since we have opened the parenthesis, we close it again and we click on OK, or you can click enter with your keyboard. So now let's create a new measure, which is going to be the total discount given, which is actually the same thing again, the sum of total discount applied. Okay, discount applied. So let's close our parenthesis. We are good to go. Okay, now let's create another measure, right? No, this one, sorry, you can click on it, the measure will come back, you make your modification. I did not spell it well. Okay, I did not write it well, so I think it's okay now. So let's create another measure, right? We right click on the table, we go to new measure. Now this one is going to be the average. Okay, now before the average, let's get the total orders, which is just the sum of, no, this one we are going to use the distinct count because the average, the total order is not like the sum. It's going to count each transaction ID as the total order. Okay, so these things are like you're just trying to put logic, right? Like how can I get the average? Of course, that's like they just try to put logic. How can I get the average? If it's even difficult, you can explain it to an AI that how can I get the average from this data set. It will help you. To get now the average order value, we want to divide the total sales with, when you put a comma, is with the total orders. Okay, to get the average order value is just we divide the total sale with the total order, and then you put comma and you add 0 and you close your parenthesis. Now we have all our measures, right? So now let's move on to the first chart. If you click on one like the total cell, it will come as a chart, which is we don't want. So you can just press delete from your keyboard, or you right click, you go to remove. So we want to get this card, this new card, okay, with the storm on it like this. So we can drop our total cell there, or we can just click on it. You see, if I create another card, right, and I click another one, it makes different one. It is one way. The other way is like you select this same one, and then you just call all your KPIs, okay? So my KPIs are the total revenue, total sale, total order. I call them all in one card, okay? So they are all there, but you can see we can see only three. We have to scroll in order to see the rest. Let's set it. You come here, you go to layout, and then it is set on max card shown 3. That is why we can see only 3. Since we have 5 KPIs, let's put it at 5. Okay. Now we can see everything. This space between the card is for each card. What is the distance between each card? You can decide to remove, or you can decide. But me, it's okay. That 8 is okay. I can even go to even 10. Okay. 10 is fine. So let's go to cards here. So we are going to shape. We don't want this rectangle. We want the rounded rectangle. To me, it looks better. Okay. But it is too rounded. So I'm going to reduce the rounded corner. Okay. Let me put maybe at 10. You can see it at 10. It looks quite good in my opinion. So let's close the cards. Let's go back to layout. No, before, let's go to coyote value. So now you can see it is all. That means all the cards are selected. If you want to select only one card, you can select. But this modification, we want it to affect to all the cards. So for the values, we want it to be 28. Okay. Now for the front, we want it to be like Sergio Bolt. Okay, I think it looks good. So for the color, we can we go to more. Let's put this color that we have used for our Excel dashboard. This okay. I like this color. It looks so good to me. Okay, we center everything. So what can we do? Okay, for the label is actually the title of the card. So for the label, we want it to be semi bold, Sergio semi bold. Okay. For the front, we can just put this black. For the color, sorry, we can just put the black. Now for the position, we can put it below or above. Me, I want it to be above. Okay, so it's up to you, but this is where we change. Now the space between the label is, what is the space between the actual number and the label? So I put it at 0 because I don't want it to take too much space. What else can we do here? um we can close our coyote. No, it's not here. No, it's not here, sorry. So let's go to image. This is the image. We want to insert our animated icon, okay? But before we insert, let's do one or two things before. So the first thing, we want to add a shadow, okay? So you just turn on the shadow, but you can see reduces the size because it is outside. So let's bring it inside, okay? Now it is at the bottom. We want it to be at the bottom. It's fine. Now for the glow, we want to turn it on. It brings more color. But instead of having it outside, let's having it inside again. Inside. Okay. We want it to be centered like this. It's fine. So for the accent bar, you will see a bar that will come with color. You see the bar. To me, this bar makes the card to look good. Okay. So instead of the left, you can have it at the right, on the right, or I think we say on the right or at the right, on the right, yes. Now let's put it at 8 because I want people to be able to see that. Okay, for the color, let's use this particular color, hash 4F008C. Okay, this purple color, which looks good to me. um I think let me reduce this. I will show you the measure of this card, don't worry. So we can close the shadow. So if you don't close these things, it will be so many entries that you even get lost. That is why I like to, when I open, when I'm done, I close. Now let's go back to the image. Okay, we want our animated icon to come, but it is at all. So if we select one animated icon, we come to all the 5 cards. We don't want it to be for all the 5 cards. Okay, but before, let me do something here. So instead of all here, let's go to total orders. Only total orders is that we want to change. Let's assign 2 decimals value. It is here as value decimal. We can assign total order to also have 2 decimals value as the rest of the cards. Okay, let's go back to the image and then let's turn it on, and we bring our animated icon. I've already downloaded them and they are in the description below. And you can download any animated icon or any icon of your choice in flaticon.com. It is free. It is where I've been downloading my images. Okay, so now for each one, let's call this for the sales one. Make sure you select the chart you want. Instead of having it in the right, let's put it below. Okay, so it's going below the text, not on the right of the text. I don't even know what do we say, on the right or at the right. Please, our English teachers, write at the right or on the right. Okay, ChatGPT will help me. So let me reduce the size. I put it 50. Okay, I center everything, the text. I think it looks good like this. Now let's move to the second card, which is the total profit. So why are we selecting the card? You remember, if you don't select the card, you put at all, it's going to bring the same shape everywhere. So we don't want this icon to be on the right. We want it to be below the text. Okay, for the size, we also put 50. We put it at 50. Now let's move on to the total discount given. Okay, let's bring this icon. Okay, it's the same for everything. We center, we put it at 50, we put it below the text. So we just do the same for all the 5 cards. And the last one is the average order value. Let's bring this card, this icon. We center the space. We don't want any space. Um, we put we put the size at 50. Okay, so we are good to go. Okay, so now we can reduce the size a little bit, but since everything is big, it is forcing us to leave it like this. So we can leave it like this. Let's just put it. So once it is selected, I can go to general and property. So these are the measure for the measure for the height. You see it is 150. If I scroll it, you can see that it is reducing, but what I'm currently using now, it is 153 for the height. And then for the other, okay, anyway, I think I might change it. So I will show you the final one. So for the type here, let's not put 60.9, let's custom it. Let's put this one 820. You see, it is making the Power BI to look good, the interface. Let's put 1.5 for this one. Okay, we want it to be middle. Now let's go to Canva background. Let's assign this gray to the dashboard. You can't see it well unless we reduce the transparency. We can reduce it to 85. You see, it is not completely white, but it is a small gray that, in my opinion, makes, like, it can be a small change, but that makes the dashboard to actually look good. You see, I've been modifying this thing like this, so at the end I will show you the size. So you just put something that can fit your dashboard. I think everything look good. So let's come here to Canva again. Oh, sorry, let's click on our chart. We go to chaos. So for the total order, let's remove the decimal value. Please, sorry, let's remove it because we can't have half, like half orders. Let's leave it like this as integers. Now let's go to insert and we insert a text. Now this is our title, the dashboard title. We are going to call it sales dashboard. So we select everything, we center, we bold it. For the color, let's click here. We come on our color. We can put the same color we have used for our cards, okay, which is #1BCED8. Yeah, I like this color. So let's select everything. We increase the size to maybe 40. Okay. So when I bring it here, you can see that the card can be seen, right? Let's remove it. Let's go to effects, okay, and you turn off the background. The cards will go, right? You can see now the background has disappeared. Let's push it on the left. Okay, so don't focus on making it look that appealing, because the most important for now is to bring the chart and then we work on making it appealing. So now let's bring the slicer. You can select this slicer, and then the first slicer we want to bring is the country. Where is it? Okay, here it is, the country. But look at the way it shows, right? Because it is vertical. Let's come here and then we go to slicer setting. Instead of vertical list, we want a drop down. We want it to be a drop down. Why? Because it doesn't take too much space and it looks good, in my opinion. So we can just put it here because sometimes when it comes to dashboard, the slicers or the filter should be like one of the things that people should see. Is not good to hide it. Let's go to slicer header. Okay, we bold it and then we go for the color. Let's give this same purple color. Okay, um was it that? No, it was not that. So let me call it again. It was #4F008C. Okay, yeah. So as you can see, for the value it is not the same, so we can go to values and then we bold it as well, and we go and give the same color, right? Okay, this is it here. So now if I check the drop down list, you can see that it is having the same color, right? So if we select US, you can see automatically the value changing according to the item selected. So let's put it back here. What is good is that when you click away, you see it will look like there's nothing there. So let's press Ctrl C to copy, Ctrl V to cut. Let's remove country and we put store location. Why are we doing that? Because when we just copy and paste the same formatting we did for the first one, we come for the rest. Okay, So these are the various store locations, which are our cities. Let me copy this and paste, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. So let's untick the store location and let's rather bring the category. Okay, so now you can select by the various category. Okay, let's copy and paste it again. We get our one before the last, which is going to be the payment method: mobile payment, credit card, or cash. Now the last one should be the date. Okay, let me copy this and paste. uh let's bring the date. Okay, but you see the date comes as a drop down list, which is not what we want. So let's come here, we go to slicer setting. Instead of a drop down, we want it to be between. Okay, what's between? This is between. So now it's going to give two different dates. Okay, it's going to be the start date and the end date. Okay, so let me, okay, um let me reduce this. So as I said earlier, when we are starting a dashboard, we should not focus too much on making it very appealing, because it's going to be time consuming. So like, let's bring the values and we put them like quite okay, and then we continue. So this one, I want to create space so that everything can have its own space and look quite okay. Like maybe not the final way it's going to be, but something quite okay. I think even this one is okay, even if you are going to modify. So our slicers are okay. Now, how do we use the date? You can select the start date here, and then for the end date, I cannot select April. There's no value in April. Yeah. So for those who can notice here, you can select everything, right? But for this data set, it stop only in April, January, February, and April. That is why. But I've modified the data set in Excel so that I'm sure what you have is having from January to December. But here, it is here that I've realized that it was not actually from January to December. So I've gone through the data set again and made it January to December, which was a lot of time. Okay. Um so let's bring our map. Okay, now we want to see the country, the sales by country, the sales by store location, which is the city, which are the cities. So now, if you can't see the map, come here to file, option. You come here to option, you go to security. Okay, here it is. Make sure that this case is ticked. Use map and filter map visual. Okay, make sure it is ticked, else you won't be able to see the map. And also, if you want the map to come fast, it should also, maybe network is also a good thing. So let's put the sales location on our location. You can see different points showing the location of our sales, our stores, sorry. Now let's put the total sales in the bubble size. So now it's going to be the size which depends on the sales. The higher, the bigger the bubble is, the higher the sales. The smaller the bubble is, the smaller the sales. Okay. We can bring the country to the legend. Legend is like coloring. So now we want it to color by country. Okay. So let's reduce the size a little bit, and we can come here, we go to map setting. Let's bring it a different kind of map. Instead of having the road, let's have it as the aerial. Okay, to me the aerial makes it look more realistic, in my opinion. Okay, because when you look at it, it looks more realistic. um for instance, you can click here to have a bigger look of the dashboard. Okay, if maybe you want to see one point, you can just like scroll it inside. You click and then you scroll. You click, you scroll. For example, this store, you can click and then you scroll in Chicago. So you click and then you scroll. Okay, so I'm just trying to see where it can show. You see, even since the runabout, even since the vehicles. I think you watching the TV, the video. I think I can see you. Is it you uh watching using your computer? Is that you? I think I can see you. I can. Okay. So let's go to the map setting. Okay, let's go to control. We add a zoom because sometimes zooming with your keyboard is difficult. Let's turn on the zoom button. So now you can press it to zoom, or this one to zoom out. Okay, so one thing is also the category label. Let's turn it on to have the category, the label. Okay, so let's see the values. The background is actually that is it that purple color. So let's turn it off. I think it was brown or something. For the color, let's give our own nice blue color, which is just hash 1BCED8. Okay, so now you can see the label is having our nice color, right? um for the bubble, let's increase the size of the bubble. No, it should rather be, let's put it at 0. Okay, I think it's big enough to see well. So if you see that all the bubbles have almost have the same size, because the data is quite like average for each store, ChatGPT gave like almost the same amount. So like the difference of sales is not actually big. So you can also click on file map to see the map in another way. If this is how you prefer, you can go for that one. But me, I want it to be as a simple map like that. Okay. So let me go to insert to bring the title of our map. I insert a text. Let's call it sales by country. I center it, I bold, and then I give it like maybe a black color. Okay. Let's unbold it. Let's leave it like um maybe 12. I think 12 is okay. Maybe let's bold it. Let's bold it. We have two options. We can use the title from the chat, or we can bring our own title. Okay, let's go to effect and then we turn off the background. Okay, so I think it looks good. So what we can do next is maybe let's try to see the filter in the map. Okay, so let's try to filter by country. We see, you see, it looks good, right? So the bubbles are almost the same. Anyway, maybe let's say each store actually perform well. So we have Abuja in Nigeria. So we can see that point as well. Let's see if the map is in someone's farm. Are you sure, Google Map? For those in Nigeria, hello. Okay. If we select by category, we We can select by payment method. We see how the map changes. I think we are good to go. So the zoom, let's reduce the zoom to maybe 73. Okay, so that we can see our Power BI very well. We can see all our charts. Let's go to insert, and then we yeah, this is how probably your Power BI is, but me, I like it when it is hidden like this. So let's insert this shape, this rounded shape. So this shape is going to be the background shape. Okay, let's even delete this title. We are going to use the title from the map in order not to waste space. So let's reduce our map here. Okay, so for the shape, we it is too rounded, right? But we want it to cover the map, I mean to be at the background. Let's go to shape. Instead of rounded corner at 25, let's round it at maybe 10, or at 85. I'm sorry, at 85. Okay, so let's change the color. Instead of blue, let's go and give it a white color. So for the border, let's give it a color for the border. Since we are going with a purple color, so let's give this a light purple as the border. For the shadow, let's turn on the shadow. You can see the shadow has come. So we can leave it with a black, or we can put like our same purple color. So what else? For the glow, let's also turn on the glow. So let's change the color to maybe something to our same purple color, right? No, let's give it a gray, like this gray color, to like change it a little bit. So if I click away, you can see the background is quite appealing. It looks appealing. So we want it to be behind as a background. So what we should do is, let me put it well before. Okay, so you click on it like this, and then you press Ctrl C, Ctrl V to copy. Now let's send this at the background. We go to format, we click on send back. So now it is sent back. You can click away for it to be effective. Okay, so now let's make sure our map is actually well inserted in the chart. Okay, I think it looks okay. I think it is well inserted. So as you can see, mm, look at property. These are the size of the card. You can just copy it in your at your own site, on your site. Okay, so they are the site, um the format of our the size of our shape. Okay, so let's stress that one to make it look good. So for this chart, what we want is actually where is it? So let's go to Power Query to get our monthly trend, monthly sales trend. Let's go to Power Query. Okay, so this Power Query looks like Excel's one, so it's fine for you, I'm sure, for Excel's users. So let's select the date, because we want to import the month from the date. So after we have selected the date, we go to add column, we go to date, so we go to month name. So it's going to extract the month name from that ordered date. Okay, so you see it has extracted the month. So let's continue. Let's go to date again. Now we want the month, only the month. It's going to come as number. If it is January, it is month 1. If it's December, it is month 12, and so on and so forth. So we can double click on the label, the name, to change it, or you can right click, you go to rename, is the same thing. Okay, so now let's go to home and we close and apply as in Excel. So now two new columns have come, the month name and the month. Okay, so we want to use them, like especially the month name, for our chart. We want to see the monthly sales trends. Okay, let's bring this area chart. They are different one, but this one is the one we want. Okay, okay, I'm just resizing it to best fit our shape. So now let's click on the month name. Then we go and click on the total sales. You can see now the sales by month. But look at the month from December, January, July is not properly aligned. So what we should do, we should click on the month name here. Once we have clicked on the month name, sorry, you come here to it is difficult because the recording thing is here, that's why. So we go to sort by, we sort it by the month number. This is why we created the month number. So it's now sorted by the month number. We can't see the change here unless we click on the three dots. We go to sort by month name. Please sort it by month name, but it starts from December, so let's sort it by ascending order. So now it is starting from January to December. Okay, so let's go to the x-axis and we untick the title, this month name. We don't want to see it. Now for the y-axis, we don't want to see neither the value nor the title. Let's go to the y-axis. The value is actually this number. Let's untick it, and then this one is the title. Okay, so okay, let's go to the line. The line is this one actually. So this is our line. For the color, let's give the purple color, the nice purple color. Okay, this one we have been using so that we can be quite consistent in our coloring. So it is nothing but hash 4F008C. Okay, so now for the shade is actually what comes down like this. If I turn it off, you see it goes. If this is how you want it, it's fine. But me, I want the shade. Just that I don't want the color to be so present. So I will reduce the transparency to maybe 95, okay? Or 90, or maybe let's put it to 95. Okay, I think, yeah, I think it's fine. So for the marker, let's turn on the marker. It's going to be those points that shows the month. Okay, I think they are very important. So for the marker, you can decide to have it as a circle, square, or anything. It's up to you. Now for the data label, I'm turning on the data label. Now let's go to the value of the data label. It is on, right? Now let's modify it. Let's like maybe increase the size to 10. Let's change the color to maybe this black. We don't want it to be too black because sometimes they over scratch, they are one on top of the other. But I mean, it's up to you. So for the background, let me turn on the background. It helps to see the value, the label very well, but the color is too present. Let's give this gray here. Okay, It is still there, but it's not that present. However, it helps to actually highlight the label. And what again? For the axis, let's bold the name. Okay, now it is visible. It's more visible. Let's go to general. We go to title. Let's change the title here. Instead of total sale, let's just call it monthly sales trends. Okay. Okay. So let's increase the size to maybe 15, and then we bold it. Let's also give a color, our nice blue color that we have been assigning to others values. So the idea is that sometimes too much coloring is sometimes not that good. Okay, so that is why we try to remain quite consistent in our coloring. So we have our purple and our nice light blue or sky blue, I don't know how to call it. Okay, so those are the main colors of our dashboard, so we don't want to show too many colors together. So it's the same thing here. Let's click on the map, we go to general, we go to title. Let's turn on the title. The title has come. Now let's bold it. We also give the same blue color. Okay, so total sales by store location and country. No, let's go and change. Let's go back. Let's just call it sales by store location. Let's remove even the country. Okay, sales by store location. Okay, it's fine. So the next step, if I remove it like this, you see how the dashboard is becoming like very nice, guys. Yeah. So let me select the cat. Let's go to chaos value. Okay, so let no, it's not here, is it here? um it's not here. Let's go to chaos value, please. um yes, here for the label. Okay, let's bold it a little bit to make it also look more present. Okay, nothing has changed or what? Okay, let's increase the size to maybe 13. Okay, so that it can be more visible. Okay, so now um we can bring our daily sales trends. Okay, so let's go back to our transform data. Okay, so here we also select the date. We go to add column and we go back to date. Instead of the month name, we look for the name day. Okay, this is the day name. If we check on the last column, we can see the day name has been generated from the order date. Okay, so now instead of having the day, which is going to bring plenty days, let's go to conditional column. Okay, so we are going to create a column which is going to be one for Monday, two for uh, Tuesday, and so on and so forth. So for the column, we want the day name. Okay, Monday is equals to 1, Tuesday is equals to 2. I know for some people, when the day of the week start, the first day of the week is actually Sunday, and you can start with Sunday, it's fine. So if you want to start with Sunday as 1, uh, Monday as 2, is fine. But maybe because I'm a francophone, we always start with lundi, mardi, mercredi, jeudi, vendredi. So I know Monday is is the first. Okay, till Friday. So please, this is very case sensitive. So if you forget even one letter, it's going to give you an error. Okay, so please be mindful of that. Take care of your spelling. Okay, Sunday as day 7. I can just click on OK. So it's going to create, no, sorry, for the new column name, it already has a column called day name. So let's call it day number for this new column. Everything is okay. So for this day, we cannot go and just click on month as we on day as we did for the month, because it's going to start from 1 to up to 1,000. But here you can see that it is only from 1 to 7. Let's go to home and close and apply. Okay, now here, let's copy this card, Control C, Control V. Okay, me, I always bring it up. I like when it is up like that. So it is purposely to have the first chart above to look bigger, because they are like the main chart that according to the manager director, these are the main things he want to see. So these are the properties of this chart, so you can just also copy it to your shape so that you can have the same size. Okay, so let's bring this column chart here. So for this column chart, we are going to bring the day name. Okay, and after the day name, we bring the total sales. Okay, so we have Sunday, Monday, Wednesday. It's not in order, right? So let's click on day name. We go to column, and then we go to, you come here to sort. You sort it by day number. Okay, as we did for the month number, we now sort it by the day number. So you come here, you go to sort axis, and then you sort it by day. You see, so you can see now it start from Sunday, Saturday. Let's sort it again now by, we sort it ascending, right? Okay, it looks good now from Monday to Sunday. So let for the y-axis, let's turn it off, right? For the x-axis, sorry. Now for the y-axis, yes, for the x-axis, let's bold the day of the week. Now let's go to the y-axis. For the value and the title, we don't want any of them, so let's turn them off, because we are going to bring our label, right? So as I said earlier, after you have used one of the thing here, you better bring the arrow back. If everything is turn on, turn on, turn on, it can get you confused. So let's click on FX to go and modify the color. The format style should be gradient. So let's select the sales. Okay, we want, now what is the minimum value? What are we trying to do? We want the color, we don't want the color to be static, we want the color to be dynamic, that the minimum value should have some kind of color. So this one is hash GD9B99. Okay, so for here we also put the same thing, but we are going to change certain thing. Hash GG9B99. But this one, let's drag it to the dark mode. Okay, we put it where it is very dark, so it becomes D42E28. Okay, so you can use it. So now it is like a conditional coloring. So you can see the more, the higher the profit is it profit? Okay, let's turn off this legend, right? um Now let's bring the label. So for the data label, we should turn it on, right? Okay. So for the value, let's bold it. Let's increase the size to 10. We bold it, and we can give this black again. Okay. For the title, total profit by day, I think it's better to have like uh total sales, not profit, right? Because according to the manager, he wants to analyze the sales, not the profit. So let's untick the profit and we tick the sales. Okay. So let's just call it daily sales trends. This one helps the company to know what day of the week is actually performing the best, or what day actually brings more money, where we sell the most, we sales the most. Okay, so let's increase it 15. We give the color like this one, this blue one, as we have been doing for the rest. Let's go to general. These are the properties, and um mm, okay, effect. Okay, it is effect, and we turn off the background. Okay, let's turn off the background of all the chat, please. Let's go to general. We go to effect and we turn off each background. So what is the difference? The difference now is that the map is coming with its own background. Since it is white and our background there, we can't see the value. But let's turn them off, please. Okay. What else do we do? So let's try to filter by country. You can see how the charts are dynamic, right? Okay. Um, what we can do now is to bring our next chart. Let's copy this shape and we paste it. I've already shown you the measures, right? So let's bring this donut chart because we want to see the sales by payment method. Okay. So let's bring the payment method. Let's click on the payment method and then let's click on our total sales. So automatically we have something very appealing, automatically generated from Power BI with less things to do. Let's go to detail label, right? Um, for the value, let's bold it. Okay. So we can even increase the size to 10. We can put semi bold, Sergio semi bold. What else? I think we are good to go. So for the title, let's change the title to sales by payment method. Percentage sales by payment method. So let's bold the title and we give our nice blue color and we increase the size to 15. Okay. So okay, for the effect. Okay, also let's also turn off the background, please, for the background effect. So if we select Abuja or any cities, we can see everything is dynamic. It's fine. So now the next thing to do is to bring our profit versus discount. This, we are going to create a scatter plot that will help us to analyze and see the profit versus um the discount. But for that, let's create the discount measure. Let's go to new measure, please. Let's right click on the table. We go to new measure. Let's call this measure uh total discounts given, or just total discount. It's just the sum of discount applied, right? Just the sum. and we close the parenthesis. Let's click on OK. So you can just click away and then go. So we have our discount, total discount. Let's bring this scatter chart, please. Okay, let's resize it to let's put it. Okay, so look at the properties. So these are the details of this shape. You can also do the same. So let's resize the chart to best fit the shape. Okay, let's now bring the first thing we want to bring in our x-axis is actually the total sales. Okay, let's put it in the x-axis. Now for the y-axis we put the total discount. Okay, now you see it is coming. For the values, let's bring our store location. For this one you can use category, you can use country, it's up to you, but me, I want to use the store location. For the legend, which is the coloring, we put our countries, right? And you see the color is the same. Power BI is intelligent enough to maintain the same color, right? So let's bring the total order in the size. So the higher the order, the bigger the bubble. Okay, so we can go to, you can come here to setting, we go to general. For the title, instead of having it total say total this thing, let's remove it. Let's just call it discount given versus profit. um no, it's versus profit, please. Sorry. So untick the sales, please, and you tick the profit, please. I made a mistake. It should be the discounts given versus the profit. So if there's a lot of back and forth, it's because I actually asked ChatGPT to generate the data, and then I have something in mind, and then I just turn on the camera and then I go through the project. I think next time I should like go through on my own before recording to go faster. So I think we are good to go. But let me show you something wonderful with scatter plot, which is very good in Power BI. Before, let's this title. I think I can bold it. Yeah, it looks good. So let me do the same for the y-axis. Let's go to the value and we bold the value. So the grid lines are the vertical and the horizontal line you are seeing. So for the horizontal line, let's turn it off, and same for the vertical, right? Why am I saying right? Sorry, yeah. So now let me show you, let's turn on the category label. So the category label helps us to actually understand each bubble better. I think it looks messy, but it looks good, you know. I will try to share what I think here. Um, so look at something very awesome with scatterplot. Let's go to setting. Let's go to markers. Okay. No, it's not even here. Is it here? No, it's not here. So sorry, let's click on the scatter plot. You come here. Yes, it's here. So let's go to play axis. Play is like it's going to create an automatic video, right? So let's put the month name. You can see it is December. If I click on play, it shows for each month. the discount given versus the profit for each month. So if you want it like this, you can leave it. So once your manager wants, can just click on play and he sees how it is animated. And it's automatically, it's wonderful. But it looks to me, it looks so overwhelming in my opinion. You can decide to leave it at, but me, I will take it off, please. Yeah, thing like this is a mess enough. It's enough messy. Yeah. For the zoom, yes, let's add a zoom slider so that you can use it to zoom instead of using the mouse. We can just use it to zoom on the left or to zoom on the right or top or down. Okay. So let's go and give a color for our discount given versus profit, our title. So let's go to general, we go to title, we go on text color. Let's give our wonderful blue color, hash 1BCED8. Okay. So how do we interpret this dashboard, this scatter plot? Let's turn off the background, please, before. Like, it looks good now. So how do we interpret this scatter plot? So when you look at, you see, Power BI is very intelligent enough to put the same color for every country. So we can see the country in the map, and we can see actually the profit we have gained versus the discount, how it is affecting for each country or for each category or whatever filter we are using. So how do we interpret a scatter plot? So this is the little interpretation of this scatter plot in my opinion. Okay, so the scatter plot shows that cities in the US and UK tend to have higher profits with moderate discounts, while some cities in Nigeria and China receive higher discount but lower profit. So there is not a clear relationship between discount and profit, meaning that higher discounts don't always lead to higher sales. I mean, some locations like New York and Birmingham perform well with moderate discounts, suggesting better pricing strategies, in my opinion. So let's move on to the next chart, which is going to be our category, sales by category. Yeah, you can call the sales by category. So let's bring our column chart. This one, the stack bar chart. Okay, so let's make it fit our shape. Okay, so let's bring the category and the total sales. So we have our stack chart, bar chart. So we can come to setting here. For the axis, let's remove everything here. So yeah, for oh sorry, it's y axis. Okay, it has removed the title there. So let's go to x axis. Okay, let's remove the value and the title because we are going to bring the label. Okay, so let's go now to, no, let's go back to the y axis and then let's bold it and we put it semi bold, please, and we increase, let's give this our black color. I think it's okay, we don't need to increase. So let's turn on the data label, right? So let's go and bold our data label and give it a black color. Let's go to value, we bold it, we increase the size of the label, we give it a semi bold schedule, and then our black color. So for the color of the column, okay, let's go to the uh, let's go to the bar, oh sorry, to the bar. Instead of the blue, let's go again to conditional formatting. For the format style, let's put gradient, right? Now for what field should we base this on? We put it based on the sales, total sales. Now what is the color of the lowest value? We put the same one, hash GG9P99. Okay, so we just put the same with the one for the daily trends. So this one, it is hash D42E28. Okay, so we click on OK. So you see the data label is turned on, the legend, sorry, let's turn it off. So let's bold it, we increase the size, we give it our own, our nice color, right? So let's now try our table. Let's try to filter everything. You see everything look good, right? So let's folder this. This is our final dashboard, which in my opinion look good. Let's test everything. Let's filter by country one by one and we see how the dashboard react. So we can see everything work well. So let's filter by the store location. Okay, but I can't go everywhere, but I think up to here we can see that everything is fine. So let's go to the category. So we have our various category. We have, let's check by payment method. So to this is to try if everything is fine with our dashboard. You can see I've modified, that is why we can now move from January to December, right? Because I've made a modification. So in my opinion, everything looks good. um, what else can we do here? So I think everything is fine. So if there's any suggestion you have, please leave it in the comments. So let's go to file to save it. You click on save as. These are the various places I've saved my file here before, but you can't click here to save again. Let's come here to browse this device. Okay, so I've already saved this file. So what I've done, I've created the dashboard folder and then I save it here as Power BI file. Okay, and then you click on save. Me, since I've saved already, it's asking me to replace. I click yes. So everything is fine. So if you have questions or anything, you put it in the comment, please. So now let's publish this dashboard. You see we have to sign in. Let's click on publish. So put your email address. It can be any address of your choice. Just put any address. It actually does not matter what address you are using. It will not even ask you to enter the code, I mean to verify it. So let's put the password. No, for this one it is a Microsoft account ideally, which is any account except Gmail account. So if you have a school account email that you have been giving or any account that does not end with gmail.com, you can put it there. Okay, set, and then you put the password. Everything is set. Now to publish to Power BI, you click here my workplace and you wait a little bit, and depending on your connection on your network in my, so now it is published successfully, but not in public but in your Power BI dashboard. So you click on the first link, don't close this, click on the first link. You can see this is your Power BI in your Power BI account, but it is not yet online. So we are now going to push this online. I'm taking screenshot because I'm going to use it for the thumbnail of the video. So let's go to file, we go to embed report, you go to publish to web. Now we are publishing this dashboard to the web. It is asking you if you are sure, and it is warning you that if there are private things in your dashboard, don't publish. And then we have published. Now this is the link generated by Power BI. It is this first link that now you send to the managers or anybody you want to show your dashboard, whether it is in your portfolio or wherever. It is this link that we use to share with people. Look at how I just open the link, and then you can see the dashboard with the link. And here people cannot modify this dashboard. It is like you have to modify it from your end. What is the difference between the free Power BI and the paid one? This one, the manager will be able to access this dashboard, but he or she won't be able to refresh unless she has the paid version that he or she will be able to refresh the dashboard. So since you are using the free version, when you make modification, you republish the dashboard and then you reshare the new link that will be generated by Power BI. So I'm very grateful for you watching this video. Please subscribe to the channel so that we can build this data analysis community. But actually, I started working as data analyst, but I'm now a data scientist. I have many years of experience as data scientist. So both data scientists and data analysts, let's get to know each other. Thank you very much. See you in the next video.